What's up? Today's video is going to be about the discussion of addiction. For single people, addiction's a common thing. Single people are often addicted to certain activities um, because they don't have any compatibility. They're rarely around um, women. In fact, good-looking women too. Women don't like to, associate with ugly people. Just people in general don't like to associate with ugly people, you know. Symmetry does matter in a face as well, by the way, especially if your face isn't proportioned. This is my right side, you see? My right side is higher than my left side, and it seems like my right brow is higher and more bony than my left. There is more definition on the left side than there is on the right of my jaw. This is my jaw. This is my jaw. And I'd say, other than that, one of the biggest phalos is my asymmetrical eyelids and my forehead shape. So my face is somewhat asymmetrical and not, harmonious. And there's some skin right there. If I could hide that, my jawline would look sharper, but even if it could look sharper, it's still small and recessed to a certain degree. Um, you know, but for most of my life, I've never had a girlfriend, at least in my teens and also into adulthood. Um, Another thing to mention is in some of my pictures, I noticed that one cheek's higher and one cheek's lower. One eye's higher and one's lower. One eyelid's uh, droopish, and the other is not as droopish. One cheek's more inwards, one's more protruded outwards. So I just got some asymmetry going on, and people do notice your asymmetrical face. Believe me, they do. Um, yeah. Um, if you're given DSM, you can be blamed for your lack of dating success simply because someone gave you a DSM. But here's the thing: women date guys with mental disorders all the time. If you want, I don't really like calling them mental disorders because it's just a bunch of BS anyway. But for the most part, but women date mentally unstable men all the time. I don't care if the dude's said to have bipolar. I don't care if the dude's said to have ADHD, ADD, or autism. Women still date these types of men if they're good looking. That's the thing. They still date them. These are not what's hindering a dude's success in dating. And so, as long as you're at least average, and by average I mean someone that looks like a dude, looks masculine, as well as he doesn't have like asymmetries, blatant asymmetries, and his face is harmonious, then he can still attract this chick and that chick. But when he's got asymmetries, when he has disproportions in his face, it's over for this guy. And guys like this often contemplate certain activities that would result in Control Alt Delete. That's just what I'll call it. Self Control Alt Delete. And they want to do this because they understand that the purpose of life, it really is true that the purpose of life is success. Dating, friendships, that's the true purpose of life. And the reason people are sad and depressed is because they don't have that purpose and they can't attain that purpose, you know? And that purpose can't be influenced by what your family tells you. You should never take advice from your family on how to attract somebody. You should never take advice from just anyone in general on how to attract people because these people are somewhat popular with other individuals, so they're going to be biased. People often think that if people have more experience with just social um, communities, then they're more aware of what is making them popular with everyone. But it's actually the opposite. They are more blinded by what their success is a result of. They believe that their success is a result of confidence. That's what's common with people that are popular or have had success with um, dates and stuff. So they're more inclined to believe it's their game and their confidence. They're not going to care about data that is not pleasant to read because it goes against what they believe. So if a person has success in dating, has success with building friendships, they're going to believe it's because of their personality. But somebody, on the other hand, who doesn't have success is going to be more inclined to look into why instead of believing why. You see, success with a lot of people, they just believe a reason as to why they are successful. They don't ever take the time to look into the actual reason why people like them. Now, I'm going to tell you this, my dad and my mother both had, to a certain degree, good quality genetics. But when they got together and they produced or reproduced, for some fucked up reason, there was a bad mix, a bad combo. Now, I was given specific, I won't mention it, specific medicines that caused specific things to happen in specific um, areas when I was 24 months old. And I deleted and was raised by mouth to mouth, if you get what my drift. And I had certain specific distanced orders that caused me, that damaged my specific organs in a specific spot at the top and at the bottom, if you get my drift. Anyway, after that, I don't know, maybe I started to become more awkward, but I also developed snaggletooth and I was allowed to eat, or rather drink and eat things that were too sugary, and it pitted my teeth. I was put on a bunch of specific things that were said to help, but they actually just further damaged my teeth. And I was taken advantage of by specific care systems, and they blamed all my problems on a specific distanced order, if you know what I'm saying. And they looked at me probably 15 minutes to an hour, just looking at me, right? And then they said, within 20 years, so and so will never be able to function. And yet we call them legitimate people of science. They are considered part of the scientific community, right? And they're allowed to look at you for 15 minutes to an hour and then make a decision of your entire life based on how they feel about your social quirks. And then what happens after that is specific corporations take advantage of you, and they enable parents to manipulate you and use your money against you. So you're put on a system, a specific money system, at a young age, put on a bunch of specific things that are said to treat specific things that actually do more damage than they actually help. And then when you complain about it, you're told it's in your head. And because you're given all types of DSMs, which many of these DSMs are just a product of specific things you are given, and you have negative experiences in life, and then you are still told that, well, your DSM said this, therefore none of your experiences are valid. And that's the problem with specific corporations. They can give you a label, and once they do that, no one can actually take you seriously. So any negative experiences you have with people out in public, therefore it's in your head automatically. And that's what they want, in my argument. That's what corporations want. They want people to not take you serious in your struggles with life and people, because you're an easy target, and they can manipulate you and make money off you further. And they can use a DSM to further harm you in the future, as Dr. Thomas Szasz, who wrote the book The Myth of Mental Illness, declared. Don't get me wrong, mental illness is real, but it's not something that can be treated with specific so-called tools. A lot of mental illness is the product of the environment and how a person's treated. It creates a negative feedback loop. And then the person grows up lacking confidence. They start to change their posture, and they can't fix it anymore. Their teeth decay. They become what we would call insane to a certain degree. They become aggressive. They become violent because they understand the game of life, and nobody gives a shit, and they can't actually give a shit, in my opinion. And the person suffers as a result. They live their lives a virgin, sexless, knowing and understanding, because the brain follows the natural order, that the reason they are sexless, the reason they are a virgin, is because they're just physically unattractive. One of the things I've learned too is, if you're a person and you have, let's say, experienced some sort of weird phenomenon or anomaly where some chick starts kissing you a lot, right? She does all these things. Just know that that doesn't mean anything. I've learned far more just being around people in general. I mean, I've learned a lot throughout my life, and I'm still learning. I haven't attained perfect knowledge yet, and I can never. I'll always learn throughout my life. But genuine attraction involves pursuit. I had somebody one time tell me, from a legal perspective, um, and mind you, in my estimation, court systems are extremely corrupt, because they want people to commit crimes because they can make money off crime. That's what they want. They want you to break the law. But anyway, a specific individual in a specific system told me that after all the damage which has been done, you need to find yourself a partner. But you should never take advice from people who are ignorant on life. See, you don't find a partner. That's not how that actually works. A partner finds you. And the only way that can happen is if you're good looking. If you're physically attractive, then the partner finds you. It has never been the dude's job, and nor will it ever, including in nature, to pursue somebody else, a chick. Um, that's not how life works. There is no such thing as game. There is no such thing as confidence, because there is a thing called pre-rejection. Pre-rejection is when, the moment you walk in, not verbally, but through the body language, somebody has already decided that you are not genetically fit as a partner. And pre-rejection is far more important than verbal rejection, because pre-rejection is what preludes verbal rejection. So if you approach someone after the body language they display in social psychology is not inviting, then they're going to reject you verbally. If you get choosing signals, on the other hand, meaning you walk into a place and the signals that they are displaying
are positive, mind you, not negative, but positive signs of uneasiness or nervousness. Because there's a difference between being frightened and being nervous. If someone finds someone physically attractive, they'll become nervous. But if somebody is frightened, on the other hand, it means they find you physically unattractive and they're creeped out by you. Now, you don't actually have to do anything to creep them out. All you have to do is walk in, and that's how it is. Because humans by nature are visual creatures, and we are unpleasantly disturbed by individuals who don't have a good face. So if you don't get choosing signals, which this ties into social psychology, evolutionary psychology, um, then it's a wrap. There is no endeavor to try. And in fact, it is better that you do not try and try to make an effort because honestly, there are certain charges that could be slapped on you simply because you look creepy. By looking creepy, I mean just you're physically unattractive. So if you don't get choosing signals, don't in any way, shape, or form try to make an effort. But the pursuit of an individual um, has always been there. So you are not by nature, by natural design, the one who is to find a partner. That's not how that works. Um, they select the partner, even if it's not verbal, even if it's through body language. And if they're not selecting you, you're not finding a partner. I'm sorry, you're not. Um, I'm going to put it frank. You're a genetic failure. You're a loser, not by your lack of status or your ability to attain money or a car, because these things don't exist in nature. You're a loser because you're physically unattractive. That's the only thing that matters in life. Believe me, it mattered in nature and it will continue to matter. Um, so, yeah, you're a loser. There are bums who do drugs and live in garages, mind you. They don't really have anything going for them, and they're not actually working a job. They're bums. They live in a garage and they shoot up, do heroin, cocaine. I don't care what it is. And they're still attracting